There are a ton of folks that seem to think gaming is dying, and honestly, I don't agree with them. I think AAA gaming in its current state is dying, and every time we get something like Black Myth Wukong, Baldur's Gate 3, or Expedition 33, the knee-jerk response of the AAA gaming industry is to defend its current state, and then they say stuff like we shouldn't expect this standard going forward. And I believe many others, are getting tired of being served slop for a premium price. You cannot convince me with a straight face that Pokemon's Legends EA is worth $60 for the Switch 1 version or $70 for the Switch 2 version. And then the biggest slap to the face is they announced the DLC before the game came out. And the third layer of this shit-filled cake is the DLC is coming out a little over 2 months after the main game release. And people are accusing Game Freak of cutting content and selling it to us later. And I can't say I blame them because that does look very suspicious. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. But we got stuff like Randy Pitchford saying, if you're a real fan, you'll find $80.
No, I don't think I will.
Kiss my ass. And apparently this game has performance issues too, and that brings me to my next point. You know, the whole fix it now or ship it later mentality, and that grates me to no end. And back on Pokemon, remember Heart Gold and Soul Silver? Remember how you can go to the Kanto region in the post game? You and I both know if this game was sold today, that Kanto portion would have been sold as DLC. And see, it's stuff like this which is why the indie scene has been taking AAA's lunch money and stuffing them in lockers. Hollow Knight Silk Song released earlier this year at only $20, and that pissed off not only AAA gaming studios, but also other indie devs for some reason. But anyways, we heard the usual, this is unrealistic to expect this to be the new norm, and how Team Cherry is charging too little for this game. This game was so pro-consumer and awesome that it had people who normally pirate video games asking you to not pirate this title, despite it already being cracked around release time. When you treat your customers as people and provide a good product, they will make sure your product succeeds. Most AAA gaming companies don't do that. They treat their customers like cash cows or pay piggies, and then they get surprised when people walk away from them. And a lot of people seem to think these gaming companies are too big to fail, but that's just not true. Take Black Ops 7. It's not doing so hot, and it's sitting at a mostly negative on Steam, and everybody is roasting the shit out of this game online. The size of your company or franchise is more of a safety net if anything. So a big franchise like Pokemon can get away with releasing garbage or 2 pieces of garbage. I think Pokemon would probably have to release about 5 or 10 bad games in a row before they felt the consequences. Think if we got 5 or 10 more Legends EAs. And that same rule applied to Call of Duty until now. The only reason AAA gaming is still afloat is because of the nostalgia. You constantly hear people saying, what happened to this or that company? They used to make some of the best games in the industry, but now their games are soulless cash grabs. Take Ubisoft for example. Remember Assassin's Creed Black Flag? Well, how did we go from this to Assassin's Creed Shadows? And that brings up another issue of mine. AAA gaming companies keep doing the same thing over and over. How many Call of Duties do we have on the market right now? How many 2Ks? How many Maddens do we have? And that's another reason why I believe indies are taking over, because they aren't afraid to take risks. And that risk has paid off. They have proven you don't need a massive team of people to make a successful product. In fact, a giant team of people could actually be a detriment. Too many chefs in the kitchen, if you would. How many people worked on Black Ops 7? Oh, that's right, about 3,000 people. And I refuse to believe this game had 3,000 people working on this because it just doesn't show in the product. What were they doing in the office? Playing hacky sack? Another thing is, these companies have gotten way too comfortable due to the lack of competition. Pokemon is the perfect example. Go back 10 years from today. What did they have as competition? I mean, they only had Yokai Watch, the occasional Digimon game, and maybe an indie game. Spectrobes was dead as a franchise. Fossil Fighters released that crap show known as Frontier. Temtem wasn't even out yet, and Temtem's dead now. Coromine didn't release yet, and countless other monster-taming games that we've gotten in the past, I say, 5 years since 2020. So Pokemon got way too comfortable due to a lack of competition because their attitude was, I'm the only game in town. If you don't like Pokemon, where are you gonna go? And that was true until Palworld came along. Palworld is an indie game with about half the budgets of Legends EA, and it came out of nowhere and shocked the gaming industry. It also made Pokemon look like trash. Palform, the game they announced a few months back, looks more visually appealing than Pokopia, and will most likely be cheaper as well. You can say what you want about Palworld, call it slop, call it AI generated, call it whatever. It doesn't change the fact that there was a market of people unsatisfied with Pokemon, and Palworld came along and scooped those people up. And Nintendo's response wasn't to make their products better, their knee-jerk response was to try and sue them into oblivion. And it's too late. Even if they succeed in the lawsuit, it doesn't change the fact that Palworld opened the floodgates. Do I think Palworld will kill Pokemon? No, I don't think so. However, I do think if Pokemon keeps releasing garbage, people will move on to other monster taming games, because we have options now. We don't have to buy the latest Pokemon game to scratch that itch anymore. We don't have to buy the latest anything from AAA gaming companies because new indies are coming along and showing them up. It's not just indies that are on the rise, it's also new or unheard of studios that are making AAA production quality games that are also on the rise. Take Sandfall Interactive. They were founded in 2020, and what's even more funny is some of them are former Ubisoft developers. Imagine how ironic that is. Some of your former employees come out of nowhere and release a product that craps on your big budget AAA game. And here's the best part. They didn't need 3,000 people to make this game. Another example is Where Winds Meet, made by Everstone Studios. This game is free. Yeah, you heard me. Free. And here's the best part. It's not doing what modern AAA games are doing. And I gotta be honest, I was very suspicious of this game, because we all know what comes with free-to-play games. Free-to-play usually means they will find some way to pressure you into spending money in their game. Whether it be pay for power, such as buying the best weapon in the game from the cash shop, EXP packs, you name it. But Where Winds Meet doesn't do any of that. They focused on making a good game first, and then focused on monetization second. And don't get me wrong, there are some pain points in this game, the menu being the main one. In my opinion, the true final boss of this game is the menu. At the end of the day, people just want good games. And as more games like this come out, people's standards are going to continue rising. And what's funny is current AAA companies still have a chance to turn things around. All they have to do is copy what the games that are being praised are doing, and eventually they'll earn people's trust back. They have the cheat sheet to success, and not only that, it's being handed to them on a silver, no, it's being handed to them on a golden platter, and they still manage to screw it up. They are too blinded by greed to see what they need to do to continue staying afloat. The AAA gaming bubble in its current state is a ticking time bomb, and those who can't or won't adapt will go the way of the dodo. But if you enjoyed the video and you want more content like this, I would appreciate it so much if you would consider subscribing and dropping a like. It really helps the channel out. Also, this was a bit of a passion project. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. You know, gaming's kind of dry right now. All we got is the Game Awards, and there's not really much else to talk about. But either way, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate it so much. You're the best, and I'll catch you next time.